All right, this lesson I want to give about is our reparations, what real reparations look like. Reparations is in 40 acres and a mule. They owe us way more than that. And that don't mean 80 acres and a mule or 2,000 acres and a mule. Nah, we need way more. We need to tread upon the neck of our enemies. That's what we need. We need to tread upon the neck of our enemies. Reparations is slavery. I don't know why this is such a hard concept for some people to get. Actually, I really do know why, because Stockholm Syndrome. They love their oppressor. Real quick, this is Revelation 13:9. It says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. He that leadeth in captivity must go into captivity." How hard of a concept is that to understand? Who led us in captivity? Esau. He had no problems with it. So why you got a problem with us putting Esau in captivity? That's our reparations. Getting our land back, not sharing our land. You know, he gotta pay for America, because a plot of land that we'll never have ever again, because of E. We'll have galaxies and galaxies, but we won't have this land, because he was so wicked that this place got to be completely destroyed. Destroyed from the top to the bottom. That's how much this place has to be destroyed. And no man will ever inhabit this land ever again. This will serve as a memorial of how not to live, what not to do. You know, this place is this place actually has some beautiful places in it. When you look at some of the places that he hasn't completely just all the way just destroyed. You know, you drive through some of these rural areas, you see the land is how beautiful the land is. It's different than driving through a place like Gary, Indiana, or Flint, Michigan. You know, there's some nice places in America. You know, you go into some places even that there are where people have settled, and they still got concrete over everywhere. But some of the places, like, they're modest living. It's not cell phone towers everywhere. It'll be like a city where everybody knows everybody. The tallest building is 3 stories, like how it should be. Some maybe even 2. But they don't got no giant apartment buildings all up. You go to a place like Upper Peninsula, Michigan, you're not about to see a whole bunch of anything like the Renaissance Center or these tall ass skyscraper buildings. Shoot, you got places in America that are completely, you got places in America that are basically like ghost towns, where it only has like 13, 12 people in it. The nearest gas station is like 27 miles away. But you can see it was somewhat, decent even after all the construction and everything and stuff like that. But this land that we got, the land that we're going to inherit, is going to be a land flowing with milk and honey. Have streets paved with gold. With milk and honey meaning plenteous. We're going to have all types of beautiful fruits and vegetables, because the land's going to have a chance to be able to rest. We don't want giving us reparations, but with 40 acres and a mule. That's not shit. I need somebody to work on that. 40 acres and a mule. I need some slaves. And who are we going to have as the slaves? We're going to have Esau. Now, this is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21 to land back off of Revelation 13 and 9. It says, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwells in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee." What goes around comes around. So you dished out the cup, we supped up the cup, now you gotta sip up the cup. And what was that? Slavery. "The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins." And now Esau's sins are reaching unto the heavens, and it's becoming apparent everywhere. All the sins, all the other nations, they're mad. All the nations are upset with the fact that he's basically got over them. You know, they making contracts and covenants with Eve, and Eve's still breaking them. You had just recently Israelis, which is Eve as well, much as you try to say we're not white. Yeah, you just a red devil with a teacup on your head. But they had just had some airstrikes that just killed the Yemeni prime minister and I think 12 cabinet members. The Yemeni prime minister is like basically the equivalent to Vladimir Putin, basically like their leader. Killed him. So expect something to happen on a side note of here to happen in a few coming days, because the Houthi rebels have always been hostile towards those Israeli rats over there. But the cup is going to pass on to him. That's why he is boosting up his military. That's why he has his garrisons everywhere, because he knows he has enemies everywhere. He's in league with all these nations, but guess what? He's going to piss them off, and these other nations are going to shoot their arrows at him. That's why he got to have his military bases everywhere and try to police who can and cannot have these nuclear capabilities. Here it is. You have Iran, who is always on the hunt to go nuclear, and lying and saying, "Oh no, we're not making any arrows. We're just trying to we're just trying to get nuclear power for our plants and stuff like that." And that's not what they're trying to do. That's not what they're trying to do at all. They're trying to make weapons because it's different negotiating with somebody who has a gun at the table. And this is what makes America vulnerable, because before during Hiroshima and Nagasaki and Hiroshima, right? I think Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There was before that there was no nuclear war, but that was the first time nuclear weapons have been used on a country, and it hasn't been used since. But now, because the scripture talks about that in Revelations. Matter of fact, let me grab that again. Revelation chapter 13 talks about them making fire come down from out of the heavens. This is Revelations chapter 13 and verse 13. Yeah. 13 and 13. "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." Fat man, little boy. The atomic bombs. Those was used on some Ammonites, Japan. The nuclear fallout has affects generations since then. So now the other nations, they have weapons like that, and they're more powerful, and they're not to the point where they just have to fly over with one of the locusts and drop it. They can actually just from where they're standing shoot it like an arrow, and boom, it's going to go to the other side of the continent, as opposed to having a manned uh, uh, person with a plane fly over and drop it. So these other nations, they're beating the war drums themselves, all because they feel like they actually want to be the next up. But you look at the scriptures, who got next? That's Israel, Yasharallah. And on that note, I want to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakodash. Double honors to the elders of GMS who were well. Peace, salutations, and shalom.